What if your greatest fear stood 10 feet tall? Armor like iron, voice like thunder, and you, just a boy with a sling. This isn't just a story. The sun scorched the valley of Elah. 2 armies stood frozen on opposing hills, Israel to the north, the Philistines to the south. Between them stretched a wasteland of dust, dread, and silence. Every morning it broke, with footsteps like thunder and a voice that cracked the sky. Goliath, champion of the Philistines, towering over 9 feet, his armor like bronze walls, his spear a beam of iron death. "Send me a man," he thundered. For 40 days none moved. Even King Saul, Israel's greatest warrior, hid behind trembling hands. But then came David, a boy, no armor, no sword, no title, just a sling, a shepherd's heart, and something more dangerous than any weapon: faith. Goliath stood in the valley, mouth curled in contempt. His laughter rolled like thunder across the hills. "Am I a dog that you come to me with sticks?" he bellowed. His armor clanked with each step a walking fortress. David didn't flinch. The army stared in disbelief. A shepherd boy had accepted the challenge no warrior dared. Around him, soldiers muttered. Some laughed, others wept. A child was walking into the jaws of death. But David's eyes weren't on Goliath. They were fixed on heaven. "You come to me with a sword, and a spear, and a shield," he cried. "But I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, whom you have defied." Goliath snarled and charged. The earth shook beneath him, but David ran straight toward the storm, not in rage, but in faith. One boy, one sling, one shot at the impossible. The giant thundered forward, bronze plates flashing in the sun, boots pounding like war drums. The ground trembled beneath him. Behind David, not a soul moved. Even the bravest soldiers stood frozen, watching a boy walk into legend. But David moved, with purpose, calm, certain. He reached into his pouch, one stone smooth, hand-picked from the brook. He loaded the sling and began to spin it, around and around, tension rising with each circle. Goliath jeered, still confident. "Come to me," he roared, "and I'll feed your flesh to the birds." But David's answer was silence and speed. He released. The stone became a missile. It cut the air like fate itself. A crack sudden, sharp. Goliath staggered. His eyes widened, and the giant collapsed, face first. The dust of the valley swallowed him. David didn't cheer. He ran. He drew Goliath's own sword and lifted it. One swing, and the Philistine threat was gone. Israel had witnessed a miracle, and heaven had just crowned a shepherd. The armies of Israel erupted in disbelief. A boy had done what no man dared. And yet, this wasn't David's victory alone. It was never about strength, never about size. It was about faith. A faith so deep it silenced fear. So fierce it defied reason. That stone didn't just fly, it was sent, directed by a God who honors courage. David had no experience in war. He had only a sling and a history of trusting God in the quiet places, with lions, with bears, in fields where no one watched. And now, all of Israel had seen what God could do with someone who simply believed. The Philistines fled in terror. The Israelites pursued with fire in their lungs. One boy's faith became a nation's roar, not because he was fearless, but because he knew who walked beside him. The battle belonged to the Lord, and when the stone flew, heaven moved. The valley grew quiet. Goliath's shadow was gone, and in its place stood a boy who never planned to be a hero. David didn't seek glory. He didn't fight for fame. He stepped into the valley because someone had to, and he believed God would meet him there. That is the heart of this story. Not about giants and swords, but about obedience in the face of fear. You don't need to be the strongest, or the loudest, or the most experienced. You need to be willing. Goliath wasn't just a man. He was the voice of intimidation. The voice that tells you you're not enough. But giants fall every time faith stands tall. So, what giants are you facing? What valley lies before you? Because the same God who stood with David stands with you. And when you believe that, even your smallest stone can shake the gates of hell.